1956. A kitchen in Indiana, July. A woman pulls a glass dish from the Frigidaire. Inside, a trembling ring of pale green jello studded with cucumber and cottage cheese. 92 degrees outside. She eats this for lunch and nothing else. These are 18 vintage summer foods that kept mid-century women cool, slim, and satisfied on pennies a day. Most were killed off by the food industry, and the one that held on longest might be sitting in your garden right now. Number 18. The cottage cheese and canned peach half lunch. A scoop of cottage cheese on a single iceberg lettuce leaf. One canned peach half turned upside down on top. That was lunch. A complete summer meal for millions of American women from the late 1940s through the mid-1960s. Breakstones or seal test cottage cheese at 23 cents a pint. Del Monte cling peach halves at 27 cents a can. The cool wet curds against the sweet syrupy peach. A sprinkle of paprika on top if she was feeling fancy. Served on the good china with the window open and the fan turning overhead. Ladies' luncheons at the church basement served this on shredded lettuce with a single Ritz cracker on the side. Under 200 calories, high protein, cold straight from the icebox. No heat added to a kitchen that was already unbearable by noon. A 50-cent lunch that kept her full until supper and never once required a calorie chart. She did not call it a diet, she called it lunch. But the peach half was only the beginning of what came out of that icebox in July. What she drank alongside it has been almost entirely forgotten. Number 17. Iced tea brewed in the sun. A glass-gallon jar filled with cold water and Lipton tea bags, set on the back porch steps in the morning sun. By noon, it was tea. No stove, no boiling, no sugar unless the neighbor brought some over. Lipton tea bags at 10 cents for a box of 16. A mason jar or a glass pickle jar rinsed clean. 4 bags dropped in, lid screwed tight, set in direct sunlight on the porch railing. The slow amber bloom through the glass over the course of a morning, poured over ice cubes cracked loose from the aluminum tray with the pull lever that stuck every single time. A wedge of lemon from the tree in the yard if she had one. 0 calories, no high fructose corn syrup, no plastic bottle. The sun made her tea and she never paid a cent for it. The global bottled iced tea industry is now a massive $28 billion powerhouse. The sun is still free. Number 16, the Jell-O mold with vegetables suspended inside. Lime or lemon. Jell-O dissolved in hot water, mixed with a tablespoon of white vinegar and a handful of vegetables. Shredded cabbage, grated carrots, diced celery, sometimes olives. Poured into a ring mold and chilled until firm. Jell-O brand gelatin at 10 cents a box. The trick was the vinegar that cut the sweetness and turned it savory. The wet pop when the mold released onto the serving plate. The vegetables frozen mid-float inside that trembling green dome. A dollop of Hellmann's mayonnaise on top. Every church potluck, every Tupperware party, every backyard cookout from Maine to California had at least one on the table. The internet mocks these now. But a woman fed her family a cold, filling side dish that cost 12 cents and required no oven on the hottest day of the year. She was not confused, she was solving a problem. Number 15. Sliced tomatoes with salt, still warm from the garden, thick slices of garden tomato on a plate. Salt, sometimes a drizzle of vinegar, nothing else. Sometimes the entire lunch on a piece of white bread with mayonnaise. Beefsteak tomatoes, Brandywine, Rutgers. Varieties bred for flavor, not for surviving a cross-country truck ride. Picked that morning and still warm from the sun. The seeds and juice running onto the plate the moment the knife went through. The crunch of coarse Morton salt. The smell of the vine still on her fingers. A tomato sandwich on Wonder Bread with Best Foods mayonnaise was a summer lunch that entire generations ate 3 times a week and never once thought of as a recipe. A grocery store tomato today has been engineered to survive 14 days in a shipping container. A garden tomato in 1955 was engineered to be eaten the same afternoon it was picked. Those are two different foods with the same name. Number 14. Deviled eggs kept cold on a bed of ice. Hard-boiled eggs halved, yolks mashed with Hellmann's mayonnaise, yellow mustard, and a pinch of salt. Spooned back into the whites, dusted with paprika, set on a plate over a bowl of chipped ice at every picnic and potluck. Eggs from the backyard coop or 3 cents a piece at the A&P. French's yellow mustard at 15 cents. The sulfur smell when the eggs came off the stove. McCormick's paprika, a dime a tin. The deviled egg plate with its molded oval wells, passed down from her mother. 12 perfect halves arranged in a circle, carried to the church social wrapped in a dish towel, balanced on the passenger seat with one hand on the plate and one on the wheel. She made them because they were cheap, filling, and could survive a hot afternoon on ice. She also made them because they were the first thing gone from the table at every gathering. That was the only review she needed. Everything so far came from the icebox or the garden, but some of the smartest summer eating happened at the 5 and dime lunch counter. What women ordered there would stun a modern nutritionist. Number 13. The drugstore lunch counter fruit plate. A plate of fresh and canned fruit arranged around a scoop of cottage cheese in the center, a sprig of mint on top, served at Woolworth's, Kresge's, and Rexall lunch counters for 35 to 50 cents. The chrome stools that spun, the laminated menu behind the napkin dispenser, cantaloupe balls, honeydew wedges, canned Dole pineapple rings, seedless grapes, a maraschino cherry on top. A glass of ice water at no charge. Women met their friends there on a Saturday afternoon. They ate cold fruit, talked for an hour, paid 50 cents plus a dime tip, and walked home lighter than when they sat down. A fast food salad today costs $9 and arrives in a plastic clamshell. It has never once been the reason two women sat down together and lingered. Notice what these foods have in common. Not one was invented by a company, not one had a jingle or a mascot. They were passed from one woman to another across a backyard fence, in a church kitchen, over a telephone cord stretched around the corner. The American food industry did not create the summer diet of the 1950s housewife. It destroyed it. Then it sold her the replacement at 4 times the price. Number 12. Cold beet salad with vinegar dressing. Boiled beets chilled in the icebox, sliced or diced, dressed with white vinegar, a pinch of sugar and salt, sometimes mixed with thin rings of raw onion, served cold all summer long. Beets from the Victory Garden plot that never stopped producing after the war ended. Or canned, Libby's sliced beets at 12 cents a can. The magenta stain on the cutting board and on her fingertips. The sharp tang of vinegar cutting through the earthy sweetness. A Pyrex bowl with a rubber lid on the top shelf of the Frigidaire all week. She spooned a serving onto each plate at supper time without asking if anyone wanted it. The same compound in beets, betadine, is now sold as a superfood supplement for $12 a bottle. She grew them in the same garden row her mother had planted. The beet did not need a rebrand. It needed a woman who knew what to do with it. Number 11. Frozen grapes eaten like candy. Seedless grapes washed, pulled from the stem, spread on a cookie sheet, and set in the freezer. Eaten straight from the Tupperware bowl like candy. Thompson seedless grapes at 20 cents a pound in season. The frost forming on the purple skin the moment they came out. The crack when you bit down, frozen solid on the outside, icy and sweet in the center. The size of a marble. Better than any popsicle. A handful filled you up because the cold slowed you down. No wrapper, no stick, no artificial flavor, just a grape that had been to the freezer and come back changed. A 60-cent bag of grapes gave her a summer's worth of frozen treats and not a single gram of added sugar. The ice cream and frozen novelty industry is now worth over $19 billion a year in the US alone. The freezer and a bag of grapes still cost nothing. Number 10. Cold cucumber sandwiches on white bread with the crusts cut off. Thin slices of cucumber on buttered white bread. Salt and pepper, crusts removed, cut into triangles. Served at garden club meetings and any summer afternoon when it was too hot to light the stove. Wonder bread at 20 cents a loaf, cucumbers from the backyard, cool to the touch even in the midday heat. Sliced paper thin with a paring knife. A smear of softened butter, not mayonnaise. The butter sealed the bread so the cucumber juice would not soak through, the crust safe for bread pudding later that week. The crunch of cold cucumber against soft white bread, arranged on a plate with a paper doily underneath. It was not fancy, it was not poor. It was a woman deciding that lunch did not need to be complicated to be civilized. Number 9. Buttermilk drunk straight from the glass. Cold buttermilk poured from the carton into a tall glass and drunk as a meal replacement or an afternoon refreshment. Especially common in rural homes and across the South. Borden's or the local dairy brand at 15 cents a quart. Thick, tangy, cold. The white film it left on the inside of the glass. Some women crumbled cornbread into it and ate it with a spoon. That was a complete summer supper. The probiotics, a word nobody used in 1954, that kept digestion steady through the heat. Farmers drank it at noon in the field. Their wives drank it at the kitchen table at 2 p.m. while the children napped. A 15-cent glass of buttermilk contained more live cultures than a $6 cup of probiotic yogurt sold at Whole Foods today. She drank it because her mother did. That was reason enough. Look at what has not appeared on this list. No protein bars, no smoothie bowls, no meal kits delivered to the door in a cardboard box packed with gel ice. These women did not need a subscription to eat well in summer. They needed a garden, an icebox, and the knowledge that cold food is not lesser food. Somewhere along the way, we decided that eating simply was the same as eating poorly. That was the lie that cost us the most. Number 8, canned salmon salad on iceberg lettuce. A can of pink salmon, drained and flaked with a fork, mixed with mayonnaise, diced celery, a squeeze of lemon, salt, and pepper. Spooned onto a bed of iceberg lettuce. A complete cold supper for 2. Bumblebee or Deming's canned pink salmon at 29 cents a can. The key on the bottom of the tin that peeled back the lid in a spiral. The pink flakes broken apart in a bowl with a fork. Hellman's mayo, diced celery for crunch. A wedge of lemon squeezed over the top. High protein, rich in omega-3 fatty acids. A phrase that did not exist yet. And 0 time at the stove. The can sat in the pantry for months, ready whenever she was. 29 cents and it fed 2. The same salmon now costs $8 in a pouch with a wellness label. The fish did not change. The story we tell about it did. Number 7, watermelon with salt on the back porch. A whole watermelon chilled in a wash tub of cold water or set in a creek bed. Cut open on newspaper spread across the back porch. Everyone ate with their hands. The salt shaker got passed around. A black diamond or Tom Watson melon, varieties with seeds, dark green rinds, and flesh so red it looked like it was lit from inside. 79 cents for a whole melon at the roadside stand. Chilled in a galvanized wash tub filled with garden hose, water, and ice. The thud of the knife breaking through the rind. The long crack as it split open. Seeds spit off the porch into the grass. Juice running down the chin and both forearms. The salt bringing out a sweetness that sugar never could. The rind saved and pickled in mason jars. Nothing wasted. The seedless, pale pink, shrink-wrapped quarter melon at the supermarket is not the same fruit. It has the name and none of the memory. Number 6, radishes eaten whole with butter and salt. Fresh radishes pulled from the garden, washed under the hose, dipped in softened butter, then in salt, and eaten whole. A common afternoon snack before summer suppers. Cherry bell radishes, bright red with white flesh. 5 cents a seed packet, and they grew in 3 weeks. The snap when she bit through the skin. The sharp peppery bite softened by the cold butter. The crunch that filled the whole mouth. A small dish of them on the supper table next to the salt cellar. French restaurants now serve radishes with butter and charge $11. American farm women were doing the same thing in 1952 for a seed and a pat of Land O'Lakes. She grew a snack in 3 weeks, pulled it from the ground with her bare hands, and ate it standing at the kitchen sink. No packaging, no barcode, no expiration date, just dirt rinsed off under the tap. Number 5, lemonade made from scratch in a glass pitcher. Fresh lemons, white sugar, cold water, stirred in a glass pitcher with a wooden spoon. No powder, no concentrate, no can. 4 lemons at a nickel apiece, rolled on the counter to loosen the juice. Cut and squeezed by hand over a bowl, seeds caught between the fingers. A cup of sugar dissolved in hot water on the stove. Combined with the juice in a quart of cold water in a glass pitcher, not plastic. Glass so cold it sweated on the formica the moment she set it down. Poured over cracked ice into a jelly glass. 20 cents a pitcher, enough for the whole family and whoever came through the screen door. A glass of country time powdered lemonade costs about the same and tastes like a memory of a memory. The real thing took 4 minutes and 4 lemons. That was apparently too much to ask. Every food on this list has something in common beyond cost or simplicity. They all required a woman to slow down, to stand at the counter and slice, to wait for the tea to steep, to let the jello set overnight, to pull the grapes from the stem one at a time. These were not fast foods. They were slow foods before anyone invented that phrase. And the slowness was not the price, it was the benefit. In a house with no air conditioning, in a kitchen that hit 100 degrees by noon. A cold lunch made slowly with her own hands was the closest thing to a vacation she ever got. Number 4, aspic, the cold savory gelatin with meat and vegetables. Consomme or tomato juice mixed with Knox unflavored gelatin combined with diced chicken or ham, celery, hard-boiled egg, and peas. Poured into a mold, chilled overnight, and turned out onto a platter. A full protein meal that never touched a burner. Knox gelatin in the red box at 10 cents a packet. Campbell's consomme at 15 cents a can. The amber color of the set aspic, clear as glass. The suspended cubes of chicken visible through the sides. The firm wobble when the platter was carried to the table. A neat slice served on a lettuce leaf with a spoonful of mayonnaise. Complete protein, vegetables, and collagen in one cold dish. Recipes appeared in The Joy of Cooking and the Betty Crocker Picture Cookbook. She made a cold roast dinner in a bowl and served it on a Tuesday in August. Nobody called it molecular gastronomy, they called it supper. Number 3, celery sticks, stuffed with pimento cheese or peanut butter. Fresh celery ribs cut into 4-inch sticks, the groove filled with homemade pimento cheese or peanut butter. Served on the cut glass relish tray at every summer gathering. Pascal celery, crisp and pale green. The cold snap when you bit through the stalk. Pimento cheese made from scratch. Sharp cheddar grated on the box grater, a jar of diced pimentos drained, Hellmann's mayonnaise, a few shakes of Tabasco, or Skippy peanut butter at 35 cents a jar, spread thick into the groove with a butter knife, arranged on the relish dish alongside green olives and bread and butter pickles. Children lined up for the peanut butter sticks. Mothers kept the pimento cheese for themselves. That relish tray was the center of the table before a single person on earth had ever used the word charcuterie. It cost $0.25 and fed the entire room. Number 2, Cold fried chicken, wrapped in wax paper. Fried chicken made the evening before, chilled in the icebox overnight, and eaten cold the next day. At picnics, on road trips, at the lake. Not reheated, not microwaved, eaten cold on purpose because cold fried chicken is better. Crisco shortening for the frying, a whole chicken cut into pieces at 69 cents from the Piggly Wiggly, dredged in seasoned flour and fried the night before in the cast iron skillet while the evening air was cooler. Drained on a brown paper bag, set uncovered in the Frigidaire so the crust stayed firm. By morning, the skin had turned into something new, cold and dense and almost cracker-like. The fat had firmed up into pure flavor, each piece wrapped in cut-right wax paper, packed into a shoebox or a paper grocery sack, eaten with the hands, standing in the grass, sitting on a blanket, or riding in the back seat with the windows down and the warm air rushing through. She cooked at night so she would not have to cook in the heat the next day. She served it cold because cold fried chicken was better than hot. That was not a shortcut. That was 60 years of knowledge passed down from one cast iron skillet to the next. But there was one food that appeared on more summer tables than any other. It was so common, so ordinary that nobody ever wrote it down as a recipe, and it may be the most important food on this entire list. Number 1, the garden salad with vinegar and oil dressing from the backyard. Leaf lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, green onions, and radishes. All of it from the garden behind the house. Torn or sliced into a big crockery bowl and dressed with nothing but vinegar, oil, salt, and pepper. Served at supper every night all summer long, not the side dish, the meal. She walked out the back door at 5 o'clock and picked supper with her bare hands. Leaf lettuce pulled from the row, 2 tomatoes still warm from the afternoon sun, a cucumber the size of her forearm, green onions yanked up by the tops, roots snapped off, dirt rinsed under the garden hose, sliced in the kitchen with a paring knife on a wooden cutting board worn smooth from years of use, tossed in a big bowl that had been her mother's, Heinz apple cider vinegar, Wesson oil, Morton salt. The whole thing cost nothing because every leaf came from a 40 by 20 foot plot of dirt she had worked since April. Her children sat down to a meal grown entirely in the backyard and never once thought of it as special. It was just what was for supper. The average American now spends over $300 a month on groceries. A wellness influencer with 2 million followers just posted a summer salad recipe that costs $14 a bowl. Her grandmother made the same salad in 1955 for the cost of a seed packet and a bottle of vinegar. And it tasted better. And somewhere right now, a woman is standing at a counter slicing a tomato from her own garden. She sprinkles salt and eats it over the sink with the window open. She does not know she is carrying on a tradition, she just knows it tastes right. And if you want more forgotten wisdom from the generations who came before us, the next video is waiting for you right now.